Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to deal with different screen sizes using when you're using Autolayout. Um, we'll start from the previous project where we had uh, menu side panel, and from there we'll start. So before starting, I'm going to make this application as universal so that it it can be run on all the platforms, iPhone and iPad. Let's run the application. Let's see here. It's working fine. Um, okay, so we have our view controller here. What I'm going to do is today that we will have one UI label basically with two buttons, and structure will be different for iPhone and iPad. So let's do it. So I will add one label here, and I'll give some raw string. Okay, so we have not added any constraint here. We'll add it. 20, and we'll align it horizontally. Yeah, so see. Okay, so we'll update the frame, so it comes like this. Let's run the application in iPad. Cool, so we got our label. Let's add two buttons. Okay, so there are there will be two buttons, right? And what we want is the starting position of the buttons, or maybe we can say the right button. Let's add another one first, and we'll rename it as right button, and we'll rename it as left button. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the starting position or the leading edge of this right button should be at the center of this label, the label we have added earlier. And in case of left button, the trailing edge should be at the center of this label. Okay, so and both the buttons will be like uh, 8 points from the top, or the vertical spacing should be like 8 points. Okay, so let's add it. First we'll uh, drag and say that um, leading. Okay, and we'll say that vertical spacing. So see here, since we have added leading and vertical spacing, it comes here. It is showing that it will come here, but we don't want. We want it to be just uh, at the center of this label. So we'll change this constraint. Okay, select the constraint. We can see here, see right button dot leading. So that is fine, but where it should start, the second item, which is our label, it should uh, rather than leading, it should be center X. Okay, so if you update the frame, see here, this right button comes exactly at the center, right? The right button starting point, or maybe you can say leading edge, is coming at the center of the label, right? Same way we also do uh, add some constraint to left button. So I will say um, trailing, and then I'll say that it should be top aligned to this button. Okay, so you can see it will come here by default. So we have to change this constraint. It is saying that the left button of the trailing of the left button is equal to the trailing of our label, but we'll change it to center, right? So just update the frame now. So let's run the application and see how it comes. Oh, so it is coming properly, but the thing is there's no spacing between left button and the right button, correct? So we need to add something. So it's very simple doing that. Select this constraint. You can see here there's something called constant, right? So we can add some margins here, correct? So let's see, maybe 20 pixel, sorry, 20 points, but 20 points, since it is uh, trailing constraint, it is going right side because it is in positive. So I have to add something like this. So it is now the right or the trailing edge of this left button is 20 points before the center of the uh, label, right? Same way we'll add 20 points here also in the right. Here we have to add positively because it is leading edge rather than trailing. So we can see here this 20 points distance here and 20 point distance here. So now they have some spaces in between. Run the application again and see. Correct. So left button and the right button comes fine, right? Okay, so let's run the application and maybe iPhone 6 or something. Let's see how it goes. Oops. So something is fishy here. Um, okay. So what went wrong here? First of all, we don't have any leading and the trailing constraint in the label, right? So the content is not moving according to the screen size. It is just in a single row. It is single line. It is displaying all the content, right? And it doesn't fit in the screen of screen width of this iPhone 6. So we have to add some constraint, right? So let's add it. Um, so now comes the tricky part. So there are multiple ways you can add constraint based on your device type. First is directly you can add different constraint based on your um, screen sizes, right? Or you can say layouts. If you see here this option any, it there are different kind of uh, configuration you can choose, and you can add the constraints. Okay, so any means it is like any width, any height. So whatever you add here will be added to you all the layouts. It will be visible, it will be there in all the layouts, right? So for iPhones we can choose this option. If you see here, this compact width and regular height, this configuration, see here, this is what exactly we were getting in iPhone 6. So this configuration basically is for iPhone of all kinds, maybe iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, anything, right? And if you choose this option, regular width and regular height, it is basically for iPads. See here. So this is for iPads, right? So uh, before doing or before adding different kind of constraint for different devices, first we have to fix this label and then we'll go ahead. Okay, so I'll select any and I'll just say that this should be like leading space to container margin, and this is how much? Minus, it should be 0, so 0 is fine. And same way here also we have to add some trailing space. Okay, something right. So so something is not right, which is so here we got some conflicting constraints. Okay, we have to delete one, at least one. So trailing margin is fine. Leading margin is also fine. This we can delete. Now it comes proper. Okay, we can see what are the constraints here. So left and right constraints for fine. Let's run the application again in iPhone 6 and we'll see if the content is coming properly. Okay, so since we have not added any, we have not increased the number of lines in the label, it is coming a single line, but it is not going beyond the screen, so we are good. For timing, I will just add some lines here, probably. Maybe I'll increase to 10, right? Okay, so run the application once more, see if we but still there's some problem. The problem is that we have not made it center aligned. Make it center, and now it will come fine in all the screen devices. Okay, so how we are going to deal with different screen sizes? So uh, if you run this into iPad, so it is coming this much size. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restrict this uh, label to maximum of some maybe some, you say 300 points or something like that, so that it doesn't go beyond this uh, a particular width. I mean, we want to start it with from here and we'll finish here, so something like this we want. Not, it should not take the whole screen or whole width of this iPad. Okay, so since we have already added some constraints, we need something different for iPhones, sorry, iPad. So we have this leading and the trailing constraint. Where is the trailing constraint? Okay, it is -1 as of now. It should be 0. Okay, so it is coming. So leading and the trailing we have. So it is coming just near to the border of the screen, right? So we have to give more space here. So rather than 0, it should be something different, right? So for that reason, we have to uninstall it in iPad, or you say regular width and regular height, and we have to add different constraint. Okay, so I'm going to uninstall it. So before uninstalling, you just have to remember where you don't want this thing to be installed. Okay, so first we say that regular width and regular height, and it should be uninstalled. See here, so it is now uninstalled in iPad mode. Same way, we have to choose whether and we are seeing uninstalled. So basically, uh, hmm. So we don't now we don't have any kind of constraint the left and the right. So we have to add it, right? So we have whatever was there earlier, we have uninstalled it for iPad configuration, means regular height and regular width, but we are going to add some extra. So we have already chosen regular height and regular width. So we just can add some constraints. So we can say here the left, or maybe we can drag and drop the best way. Leading space to container, it is coming as 0, but we'll give maybe uh, 200 points. Same way we will have training space constraints. This is also will have 200 points. Let's update the frame. Oops, something. So it is 200 rather than 200 minus 200. Yeah, so it is coming proper now. Okay, so rather than 200 it should be minus 200 because it is leading, right? So this is what we wanted, right? As I discussed earlier, the leading and the trailing spaces are more as compared to uh, iPhone configuration. So whatever constraint you are adding here, see the uh, inspector here. Um, this is installed in regular width and regular height, but it is not installed in any other, right? That means whatever constraint you are adding here will be in that mode only, not any other mode, right? So if we change the layout to our iPhone configuration, you see our old constraints are already there, right? So we have installed those constraints into iPad configuration, but not in iPad, correct? So let's run the application. Let's see if, whether our constraints are working properly or not. Right. So this is what actually we wanted. I uh, restricted the content to be started after 200 points, and it should be ended before 200 points, right? So this comes nice. So this is how you work with uh, different what to say screen sizes. Now this is the first approach. This is basically you add constraints or install or uninstall constraint directly into interface builder. But there will be scenarios where you have lot of constraints, lot of UI views, lot of constraint, and different kind of uh, design for iPhone and iPad. So sometimes it will be really complex to make this kind of to use or to go with this approach, because if you suppose we had only three UI views, you may have like 50, right? Maybe 60. In that case, if you have different kind of uh, constraints, it will be really difficult to manage. And suppose you are displaying different designs for iPhone and iPhone 4s and 5 and 6 and 6 plus, then it becomes more complex to optimize and um, to maintain, right? So another approach is, you instead of directly adding um, constraints to this interface builder, we will take the reference into our Swift file, and we'll change the constant of those constraints based on the device size, right? So For that, to demonstrate that, I'm going to add one a label again, but this time rather than managing from the interface builder, I will directly I will add outlets, and I'll modify according to the device size. Okay, so let's add one label again. Okay, so I'll give some space here, vertical spacing, and leading and the trailing spaces. Okay, so this are label. I will change again the text something. So just some rostering, and okay, so let's run the application again. Let's see what happens. I'm running in an iPad. Okay, so this is how it is coming in iPad. Let's run the application in iPhone. Maybe 6. It is coming good in iPhone 6, but iPad it doesn't coming properly, right? It doesn't. The second label is not coming as a in a similar way as first label is coming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some outlets of our constraints. So this is, let's say that leading constraint, second label, again trailing label. Okay, I'll do some space here. Okay, so we have added the constraints. So in the earlier UI label, we have added 200 points, right? 200 points left side and 200 points right side. Same way we will do here also in the viewDidLoad method. I'll say that so dot leading second label dot constant what was sorry, so there's something. So instead of adding the constraint, making the outlet of the constraint, I have made a mistake. So other than this, I will just put this. I'll change this thing. Okay, so this happens because if you click anywhere like 2 pixels or 2 points or left on the right side, it selects the other element, right? So this may happen. So I'll just say that self dot leading constraint to label dot constant is equal to Remember we have given 200 minus 200 points. Same way I have given here. Trailing constraint to second label dot constant equal to 200 points. But remember we have to do it only for iPad, right? So if you run this application in iPhone 6 right now, let's see what will happen. Oops. Oh, what happened to our... Okay, so 200 plus 200, so almost invisible now. So it is not visible at all. So if you run the application in iPad 2, so it is coming properly, but since we have added it for all the devices, because it is not based on any, we are not taking care of screen sizes here. It is adding, it is modifying the frame in iPhone 6 also. So since we have given 200 points and 200 points total what is it space, it is just not displaying the width of the frame is like almost zero. It is not visible at all, so we have to change it. So for that I have some written code for checking the device type. So I'll just calculate what is the height, and based on the height, um, uh, there's a method which takes the height and returns which device type it is. So see here, if it is like height is 480, we have iPhone 4, 568, so iPhone 5, 5s and those stuff. 667 iPhone 6, and 736 is iPhone 6 Plus. Other than that, it is iPad. So uh, we have to just take care of this iPad thing. So, and remember, this is just extension of the UI device. So we can use this method in UI device object methods as a UI device object method. Okay, so what we're going to do is, if we are saying that if UI device dot current device is sorry, device category is equal to dot iPad. If it is kind of iPad, then only add this constraint, these constraints. Okay, other it's just fine, because um, it is already, since we have given 0 0, the trailing space and the leading space is 0 0 for all the device type. It will take care of. So in case of iPad, it basically we are giving a different spacing, right? So let's run the application again and let's see if it works fine. Okay, so we are good. So for iPad 2 is coming properly. Let's check in iPhone 6. Okay, so we got it. So you saw this is the second type where we are making outlets of constraints, and we are modifying according to our requirement. So this is the second approach we can do. So this is more manageable in my experience. Um this is more manageable as the number of views increases, and as your design is going from simple to more complex. This is easier way and more manageable way, right? um, but you can choose your own. I mean, if you're comfortable with doing all the things in interface builder, you can do it there only. uh, so otherwise it is fine. So whatever approach you choose, it is up to you. um, Another thing is, in my experience I have come through, uh, if you go through the first approach where you are doing all the things into interface builder, And suppose tomorrow any other person has to work on those screens, complex screens, it will be really difficult for that person to understand what is going on. But here it will be really easy for him or her, that what you're doing, because any modification in complex structure of UI views, it will be really difficult for anybody to understand. Okay, so I think this approach is better, but it is up to you how you proceed. It is up to you. Yeah, so that's all for today. This is how we deal with different screen sizes in auto layout. Thank you.